Hey everyone, it's your Survivor buddy Gordon Holmes here with your exit press for Survivor 46, Episode 8, talking to the ninth eliminated player. Going to hear from Tevin in just a minute. Before we get into that, a couple of quick orders of business. First of all, the comments section is open, so please let us know what you feel about that episode, feel about this interview, whatever's on your mind. A couple quick rules: be nice to each other, be nice to the contestants, and be nice to me. Also, my episode recaps are available every Wednesday, Wednesday following every episode. You will have my full thoughts on what happened and then individual player grades for the players, except for last night, because I couldn't make heads or tails of what happened at Tribal, so I was not comfortable giving out grades. Also, the Survivor Power Rankings are back, and this Monday we've got one I'm very excited about, with Julie squaring off against another mystery opponent. I'm stepping down for a bit to let some more advanced Survivor experts, people who've actually been in the weeds, take my place. So special guest this Monday. And as always, if you enjoyed this content, do us a solid, like the content, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. And with that being said, let's see what Tevin has to say about last night's train wreck. Tevin, how's it going?
I'm so blessed, Gordon. How are you?
I am all right. I'm all right. Now, I've been doing this for quite some time, so I know a thing or two about how to craft a question. So it took me a while to come up with this. Here I go. What the hell happened last night?
Gordon, you watched it. You tell me what happened. You watched it go down. All I know is that sitting there, I was like, this is utter chaos. Like, honestly, I was like, what the hell is happening? Like, what's going on? Because why is Q trying to quit? Now, as a viewer, this is where viewing the Survivor and playing Survivor are not the same sport. Viewing it, I'm like, well, I know Q has done this a couple times before, so maybe this is strategy. As the player, I'm like, why is Q trying to quit? But I'm also not going to he's not going to stay. I mean, if he wants to go, just say you want to go and go.
Now, when you say he's done this a few times before, do you mean he's like kind of floated the idea of him quitting?
I mean, when you watch the show, I mean,
Yeah,
you see
he did that with Kenzie.
moments. Yeah, there's a couple times where he's like, I think maybe I want to quit. And then he comes back and he's like, actually, gotcha. It was strategy. So, maybe he could swing this back around. But in the moment of me being at Tribal watching it, I was like, he is trying to quit. There was no thought in my mind that this is like false, or this is some type of trick play, or I didn't think that was a thing at all. I just thought he was being chaotic Q, and he was trying to quit the game, and I couldn't for the life of me understand why or what he was even talking about. It was so cryptic. I was like, what are you talking about?
I love Q because he and I have this in common. Everything I do is what I meant to do. Everything the way it turns out was my intention. So he and I are very much on the same page with that. I was trying to figure out, was it like, had you and he worked together to put the votes on him, and then he could have, if Hunter given us, but like apparently that was not the case. And you didn't fall for it as well, with you voting for Venus. Heading into Tribal, did you think your time was up, and that's why you were kind of being like, yeah, let's vote for Q?
No, I did have a moment on the beach where I looked Liz in her face and I said, Liz, I think it could easily be me tonight. I feel like something is off. I don't know what it is, but something isn't right. And Liz was like, no, you're okay, T. Everything's fine. And I was like, okay. And so I thought going into Tribal that it was going to be Tiffany that night. I was like, it's Tiffany. But when the live Tribal happened, I was like, okay, now I got to figure out how to get these votes back where they need to go. Because now I'm hearing some people say, let's just do Q because this is too much. Let's just stick to the plan and do Tiffany. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. And I was like, oh my God, this is chaotic. I said, how about, because we've all agreed that we can do Venus. Let's just do Venus tonight, and then we can reconvene and figure this out when we get back to camp. So my vote for Venus was just to throw a vote somewhere that's easy so that we can say we got someone, and like we'll figure out the rest later, because it was too chaotic.
Feel like every now and then they'll come back from Tribal and not show us like the aftermath. If they do not show us the aftermath of this one, I'm going to have a fit. Because
I'm
like,
sure it's going to be a lot.
yeah, because when they showed the voting booth, I'm like, okay, now we're going to figure out what Q's plan was, and everybody was just like, so wow. So I'm very much looking forward to figuring that out. Q. So I think of like the great chaotic players. I'm thinking of Tony Velachos. I'm thinking of Russell Hantz. And the difference between those two guys is they were both kind of a-holes, but Russell was just an a-hole, but Tony, he's like our a-hole. We love this guy. He's an insane maniac, but like he's our insane maniac. Are people enjoying Q, or are people more annoyed by Q at this point?
I think Q is polarizing. I think that people love him, and I think people love to hate him and hate to love him at the same time. And so I think that he's entertaining. I mean, we're out there playing hide and seek, for God's sakes. Like, how can you not love a guy who wants to make us go play hide and seek, and we're running and having fun, and at the same time, he's kind of dominating and trying to run this camp and especially this Sixth Alliance as if he's the Argent, I mean the army, general or something. And that was one of the reasons why I had to vote Soda out of the game, because Q told me to. I mean, Q told me to vote Venus, and I was not going to vote Venus because Q told me to. And so there came a point with me that I said, Q is not going to run my game, because if I get to the end with this man, he's going to say, I made the 6. I did this. I made the votes go this way. I was erratic. I hate, all these things. And what am I going to say? That I just floated? I didn't want to float. So at a certain point, I was like, yeah, Q is doing a little bit too much, and I have to kind of start making my own moves.
Yeah. There was a really interesting moment last night where Q approached Hunter and was like, it's going to be Tevin. And he didn't think he had the numbers to save you, so he wasn't even going to try. And then Hunter was like, and like kind of like dove into action. When you watched that, last night, does it do your heart good knowing that, the Andy Griffith Alliance was there for you?
It really did, because I mean, to watch Hunter immediately go, no, Tevin is good for our games, and like this cannot happen, and watch him fight, because no one is obligated to fight for anybody. Nobody is obligated to be as strong of an alliance member to any person. And so for Hunter to get up and to do that and to fight for me and try to save me when Q was like, yeah, we can't stop it. Like that was really, really beautiful to see, actually.
Did you know about Hunter's idol?
I did not. I did not know about Hunter's idol, at not even a little bit. Which good for him for
Yeah.
Keeping it close to his chest, because a lot of people just immediately tell it, and then you see what happens. Q told about Tiffany's idol, and now everyone, or at least Charlie knows about it. And so there's something about Hunter not having told me that does do my heart a little good, but also it would have been nice to know, but he didn't.
Yeah. I imagine the sing-alongs at Ponderosa must have been pretty epic once both you and Soda were fed.
Oh yes, we didn't even
uh,
have to sing. I don't need any food in me to sing. I mean, you see me singing on the island with very few calories in me, so it doesn't take much but water to get my voice ready.
There you go. So you had this extra vote, never came into play. Were you, like, it seemed like Maria burnt hers on purpose to kind of, I
Yeah.
assume that was to take a target off of her back. Did that ever cross your mind? What were you thinking with that
No.
advantage?
No, I have a belief that you don't ever have to use an advantage to actually use it. So I use my extra vote, though I never played it. And the reason that I say that is because on day 2 on the journey, I told Maria that, because she was like, well, Tevin, what's the color of the pen on the vote card? If you had the vote card, you would know what the color of the pen is. I was like, I don't know it. Jelinski was like, blue. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my vote because I don't know the color of this pen. So I said, Maria, the only thing I can offer you out here is like, I don't have any money or anything, but I can offer you alliance-ship to build some trust. If you pick me for this extra vote, when we make it to merge, you and I can work together. And so we agreed. Jelinski kind of got roped into it. I crossed my arms, which is in the episode, and I say, shall we shake on it? Shall we make a deal on it? And we made the three-way alliance that I initiated in that moment. Then fast forward to the basketball challenge. I sat out because I saw Maria sat out. We didn't know we had our extra votes at the time. Maria still had to make a decision privately after me and Jelinski left. So I sat out of the challenge. I went to go talk to Maria, and I said, Maria, on the bench, who did you vote for the extra vote? She said, I picked you. I said, I had the vote card. So we knew in that moment that we had our extra votes. And that was the reason that I sat out. So I had been building trust with Maria. And so that extra vote kind of was helping me align myself with Maria and other people to say, hey, I'm a number, and another number, use me. Or, hey, Maria, remember we did this extra vote thing. So no, I didn't play it, but it absolutely was helping me form tighter bonds and alliances with people.
Okay. Venus is a really interesting case. She kind of reminds me of Jake from last season, or Jay Maya, someone who like seems like they have real interesting strategic chops, but just don't have the social game to bring people on board. Was that your assessment of her, or like, is there anything we're missing with Venus?
That was absolutely my assessment. Whatever Venus says is not wrong. She has excellent strategy in some of these scenarios. She just doesn't have the social capital or the awareness around her to try to assimilate. And you have to, like, I understand what she's fighting for and why she does what she does. But when you're playing Survivor, you do have to kind of slip and slide around to make people feel like you agree with them, even if you don't, so that you can get your point across. And so for me, and even for Soda, like all of us at Nami bent over backwards to try to make Venus feel accepted or heard or listened to. Soda especially, which is why I did not trust Soda, because of how close they were. They just didn't show that. So there was a early on in the game, I pulled Venus to the side, and it's a deleted scene, and they made it seem like she pulled me to the side. I pulled Venus to the side, and I said, hey, Venus, let's have a conversation, because we need to bridge this gap, because I want to respect you, and I want respect as well. So we talked for about an hour. And every time I tried to explain to her my side of things, I was being met with like, well, you're just interpreting it that way, or that's not what I'm trying to do to you. And I'm like, I understand you may not be trying to, but there's intention versus impact. You may not intend to do it, but the impact is very palpable to me. And so you need to take accountability for that. So we talked. I said, Venus, how about this? How about I tell you what your problem is with me, and I want you to tell me what my problem is with you. Let's do that so we understand each other and we can respect each other, period. I said, you think I'm making you feel like a social pariah. I'm outcasting you. I'm not listening to you. You aren't being seen or heard. She said, yes. I said, Venus, what's my problem with you? She said, well, I just feel like you're interpreting things that I'm not trying to do. And I was like, okay, so how about this? How about we make a safe word? Sunflower. If I say sunflower or if you say sunflower, one of us has done something to hurt the other one, we can address it and talk about it. Great, we agreed. The last thing I said to Venus was no one would ever suspect you and I working together. We can form an alliance right here today, right now, and run the game top to bottom because no one would ever see it coming. Do you want to do that? She said yes. I said, now when we get back to camp, let's keep it cute. Let's not do too much because we don't want to get each other voted out, but let's just pretend like we still don't like each other. And so we stormed back to camp. And that's what we did for a long time until she kind of, well, not a long time because she immediately threw my name out. So I think Venus has strategy and things, but she just wasn't willing to accept olive branches that was given to her. I mean, I gave her an alliance and she burnt it immediately, and she doesn't want to admit her side of things because I have feelings too, and I feel like she crossed boundaries with me and started to, step on some of my feelings as well.
We do a word association here to get to know your tribe mates a little bit better. I'll give you someone's name. Give me the first word, a couple words that pop into your head. Let's start off with Randon.
Fun.
Tim.
Chaotic.
Soda.
Beautiful.
Hunter.
Spiritual.
Kenzie.
Campy.
Ben.
Rock.
Charlie.
Taylor Swift. I don't know. Swifty.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong,
Swifty.
Tevin. Maria.
Strong.
Okay. Mariah.
Intelligent.
Hugh.
Erratic.
Tiffany.
Powerful.
Venus.
Unaware.
You spent a little time with Jelinski, so let's say Jelinski.
Goofy.
All right. And we'll finish off with Liz.
Sneaky.
Okay. What am I missing with Liz? Because I feel like nothing from her from the first episodes outside of, guys, I'm so rich. And then finally they're like, you're like, how about soda? And she's like, I've wanted soda for so long.
Yeah.
Where does that come? Like, what am I missing with Liz? Fill in the blanks, please.
So Liz, Hunter, and I actually formed a three-way alliance pretty early in the game. And so we were working pretty closely together. And Liz and I had a private conversation that will remain private, where I never thought that Liz would turn on me. I never thought that I needed to vote Liz. Just because of the conversation that we had. So I never thought to look at her, but clearly Liz is playing a very different game because at first I was like, who is this woman? Like flaunting her money and talking about how rich she is. Like, you don't do that in the game. And then I started to think like, is she playing us? Like, what? It doesn't make sense for me for someone to do that. But then I was like, maybe that is just her. So, and then we did have a deep conversation and I got to know her a little bit more. And I was like, okay, I like Liz. And so I didn't see her coming. And clearly she's playing her own game. And I don't know where that's going to go. But I don't know. What I know of Liz is that conversation we had and the alliance that her and Hunter and I built. Anything outside of that is Liz doing her own thing.
Okay. We're running short on time here. I did want to touch upon, there has never been an intro speech like Tevin's intro speech. Tell me what it must have felt like to see that kicking off this season. That felt like a real special moment.
Yeah, it was shocking. And I didn't expect it at all. And I remember them saying, Tevin, we're gonna say Survivor is, and then you just take it from there. And I remember doing it. But I in no way expected that to be the opening, and to know, I mean, that's the first time that's happened. I think, I mean, Carolyn had a cold open in 44, right?
That was
But
a little different.
It's very different. And so this is the first time in all 46 seasons that this has happened. So to kind of have that historic moment kind of happen, and for it to, and listening back to it, I'm with my voice all the time. So I don't hear my voice the way that other people may hear my voice, right? They may be like, wow, it's so profound. But to me, it's my voice. But to listen to it and to watch it over this thing that's about to take place, and like the action is starting and the music and the slow-mos, and like it's me, and I end with and I'm ready for it. Like it was the most epic thing that I've ever seen. Like I was so like, yeah, like I did that. So I'm very proud, and that's one of the reasons why I say I may have went home and I may have not won the game, but nobody can ever tell me that I didn't win the game because of the things that I have done and the waves that I have made in the Survivor world.
Well, Tevin, we know that Ben is a rock star. You, my friend, are a superstar. I want to thank you so much for your time, and I'd love to see you back on the show. And I don't say that to everybody, so I know today's crazy busy for you. So I want to thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much, Gordon, for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you.